And so I'm going to go through the 4 aspects of the recruiting process, which is paid advertising, a screening and scheduling process, a group interview process, and a final interview process. Before I get there, I just want to help you understand what's doable, kind of what the high-level structure of the recruiting process looks like, and what the results can look like for you on a 30 to 90-day basis. So let me clean this up real quick, and we'll show you exactly what that looks like. So this recruiting process on a week-to-week basis looks like a couple group interviews weekly and 5 to 10 final interviews weekly. So this is kind of at least the high-level structure from an interview perspective, although we're going to talk about more of the details like the steps in the group interview process. Okay, so again, you have ads, screening and scheduling, group interviews, and final interviews. So those are kind of the 4 things that are required to make the SRU recruiting method work. Now, I'm going to come back to this stuff later. Let's just kind of focus on the group interviews and the final interviews here for a second. Now, our typical client, and I'm just going based on our averages so you can understand what's actually doable and what the time investment is from a recruiting perspective to get these kind of results. Our typical client, assuming they want to recruit week after week after week, which by the way, most of them don't because they're small businesses and they get overwhelmed quickly. But hypothetically, with this SRU recruiting method, if you wanted to recruit week after week, month after month, over a 90-day period, here's really what the results look like. At a high level, you're doing 2 group interviews weekly, and you're doing 5 to 10 final interviews weekly. Now, these group interviews are 20 to 30 minutes each, right? So a max hour during your week. And these final interviews are typically 30 minutes each. And so roughly from an interview perspective alone, you're looking at about 5 hours in time investment for your couple group interviews, for your 5 to 10 final interviews. And the average result of doing these 2 group interviews and these 5 to 10 final interviews weekly, on average, is signing 1, 2, 3, maybe up to 4 reps. Some companies do a lot better. I'd say the average is about 2 to 3. So as an example, if I continued to do this week after week, and I signed 2 to 3 reps per week, well, that would be 8 to 12 reps every single month. On average, that's 10 a month. If I did that over 90 days, that means I've recruited 30 sales reps. And if I have a 20% retention rate, that means I've recruited 30 sales reps and I've retained 6 sales reps that are scaling up into quota. That's really what the model looks like. Is we eliminate the phone interview. We take everybody like that 40% I was talking about that seems on paper worth pitching. We pump them into a group interview. We pitch the dream and go through the steps that I'll talk about here in a second. And we funnel them into one-on-one interviews right after the group interview. So our show up rates are exponentially higher than scheduling one-on-ones like the following day or 2 or 3 days out, and we close who we close. So again, I'm doing a couple group interviews weekly, 5 to 10 final interviews per week. I'm signing a couple reps, and I can do that week after week after week, 8 reps plus per month. Now, the conservative end result numbers for doing 2 group interviews and 5 to 10 final interviews weekly is you're actually signing 5 to 10 plus sales reps per month. That's on the lower end. So we have clients that actually will recruit like 20 plus per month doing this. For most of our clients, by the way, they don't want to recruit that kind of volume. So if you're interested in working with us, I don't want you to get overwhelmed with the volume idea. But on average, conservatively with these results, assuming somebody wanted to continue the recruiting process week after week, month after month for 90 days, well, on a 30-day basis, by doing 2 group interviews and 5 to 10 final interviews per week with about a 5-hour time investment, signing roughly a couple reps per week, well, conservatively, what it looks like is actually signing 5 to 10 plus per month, right? Which is 15 to 30 plus over 90 days. And out of those signed reps that showed up into onboarding, I actually retained 5 to 10 plus reps. So what I mean again by this, if you did a couple group interviews weekly, 5 to 10 final interviews weekly, assuming you were running the process correctly, and you did that for 90 days straight, you would have conservatively 5 and up to 10 plus retained sales reps on your sales team crushing it every single day. Now again, for most of you, that's going to be overwhelming for you, recruiting week after week after week, onboarding week after week after week. So if you're like 80+% of our clients, that's going to be overwhelming for you. But the reason for going through those numbers is I want you to understand what's actually doable conservatively for any company, regardless of how attractive their opportunity is from a marketplace's perspective, like we went through at the beginning of the training. So even if you have the no salary, low ticket, long sales cycle, you can accomplish these kind of numbers over a 90-day period, which is really amazing. While at the same time cutting off like 75 to 80% of the time investment compared to the traditional recruiting method. Now, our clients that cut off 80% of the time investment for them, and we're managing all the pre-group interview screening and scheduling and the ad management, and we screen out hundreds of people for them. But even if you go from phone interviews to group interviews, this will cut your time investment in the recruiting process down exponentially.